still have the steel pipes, the steel motor pipes.
Okay. And the back part you have copper?
Yeah.
Okay.
And so I'm pretty sure that means that upstairs bathrooms, there's
Copper.
a bathroom up there. So that'll have copper
Okay.
pipes going too.
That's good.
In fact, I can see where they go. Yeah. There's some cast iron sewer pipes and some, which are the original,
Mm-hmm.
and some of those plastic ones, which are quite a good choice, actually. Plastic. So we have the wooden frame of the structure is bolted to the concrete foundation. So the concrete foundations are embedded in the ground. You know, they dig a trench and they fill it up with concrete.
Mm-hmm.
And so that in the case of an earthquake and the ground moves, it will move the foundation. That's good, okay? The foundation will move the wood frame so that everything will go back and shove back and forth together instead of the house
Splitting.
sliding off
Yeah.
like the foundation. That's what the bolts help for. They prevent this sort of thing. If this is the foundation and this is the house, they prevent it sliding off.
Okay.
The house doesn't have the kind of earthquake resistance that you would find in a new house,
Mm-hmm.
or even one built a couple of years after that 1989 earthquake. But so far, it hasn't suffered any damage from earthquakes. That's probably because it didn't be exposed to any big earthquakes.
Mm-hmm.
That was the earthquake in 1989 was about 7 on the scale,
Mm-hmm.
and the same termites. So the reason you can see that is because the termites have made holes in a piece of wood and they build these little mud tunnels,
Mm-hmm.
and they're coming out of there. So they're, you know, you can tell they've kind of like gone down this beam and they've tried to come out and they didn't like it there and went someplace else.
Mm-hmm.
They eat as they go.
Yeah.
And they never eat the surface of anything, they just eat in the middle.
Mm-hmm.
So unless you take, like really start jabbing at it or something, drilling a hole in it or something, you can't really tell. But if it was really bad, the floor would be sagging and stuff like that, so I don't see that. They haven't done that much damage. The termite guys can definitely stop them.
Yeah. Okay. But other than that, it looks good down there.
So the old part of the house
Mm-hmm.
is to here.
No, it's
No.
here.
So, okay.
The old part of the house goes until here.
Oh, thank you, you're right.
They didn't hook the wiring up, put it back up again.
They didn't hook what wiring up again?
The wire that goes to the light up there.
Oh, so the light doesn't work up there?
No, it doesn't.
But it's funny, there's a efficient bulb up there, but the light doesn't work.
Yeah.
So, just for looks.
No, it wasn't that. We thought it worked. And then what happened was that the electrician, told me, he says, you know what, that he can hook it back up.
Mm-hmm.
You know, these little wires right there.
The realtor's daughter lived up there when you first moved here?
Mm-hmm.
Wow, how old was
was-
she?
She was about 12, 14 years old. She wanted her own space.
Uh-huh.
So they built that up there for her. And I guess at the time it was sufficient. Had a little place for a desk up there
Uh-huh.
and a closet. It wasn't very, you know.
That was like early 70s?
That was
I'll go up here.
that was like the
It was the 70s.
50s.
The
That was
50s?
the hippie beatnik days.
Yeah, the 50s.
Uh,
So yeah, we use it as a storage.
yeah, it looked like a place for storage.
As a
But-
window.
And then when you said this was converted back in the 75
Yeah.
range.
And each piece that overlaps the other one. Wow, they're laid really tightly, nicely together.
Yeah, they did it like you would lay hardwood floors.
I see.
Resilient plank flooring.
All of it. I'm talking about evidence of subterranean termites.
Okay.
which means you could end up chasing damage beyond the point of what I'm seeing it today.
Okay, so where do you see the majority of damage?
Right in here.
Right here?
Yeah, I'm following
With
plumbing. So yeah, where I pick up this plumbing for the kitchen, I guess, or maybe see the bathroom upstairs is that way, isn't it? Slightly. Yeah, it's more forward. So it's the downstairs plumbing.
So how much damage is there? Like how much, like, would you recommend getting fixed? Like, does it need to be fixed or
Mhm.
it does need to be fixed?
Yeah.
Okay.
I use words very selectively. When I say damage, it needs to be repaired or replaced. When I want to back off on termites, I'll use the word channeling and say that it may not necessitate repairs.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you could have some channeling in here too, but most of what I was probing was damage. Well, as I was telling Jeff though, for the amount of, as far as the subterranean termite has moved around, outwardly, I'm not picking up that, that much damage
Mm-hmm.
in comparison to where they've gone. So
Okay.
they move around. There's they kind of forage, and when they'll stop and concentrate on a piece of wood, and I mean the entomologists can't tell you why.
Okay.
They just do.
So the damage that's been done, is it foundation damage, floor
No, wood.
damage?
So mostly subfloor. Which is,
subfloor.
Most of this is, I think it's 2x6 tongue and groove subflooring.
Okay. So the carpet would have to get pulled up?
I think so. I mean, I'm going to write it that way, and all we can do is, sometimes we try to cut out and replace wood from below, but that depends if you've got subfloor, and then did somebody put an underlayment, which is like plywood or particle board,
Mm-hmm.
that we could work from underneath it. In some cases you can, and in a lot of cases you cannot.
Okay. Is there any way to estimate how much that would cost or something?
Well, I'm going to do my best, but
Okay.
it's going to have a strong possible concealed damage clause on it, because you just, we don't know what we can't see until you start taking it, until you start.
So the two
repairing it.
areas that you'd recommend like looking into are cutting back in the garage,
Mhm.
the drywall or slate or whatever you said, and peeling back and looking at the damage there, and then looking at this area.
Right. Yeah, in the garage, you're not just looking for damage, you're looking for construction detail to know how it should be put back together.
Okay.
If you look at, like Jeff was showing you, that much distance you want to be above, with concrete off of the surface of the concrete floor. You've got that because of the concrete wall of the house on this side,
Mhm.
but you don't have it on that outside.
Mhm.
But as far as a good visual, that's what the house, and that's what would be acceptable on a house this old. The Structural Pest Control Act that I go by is very old, and so they're not telling us to call out faulty grades until we're down to almost 2 inches. You go pull a permit today at most cities, and it used to be they wanted 6 inches, and now they want 8 inches.
Okay.
So if you fix it and choose to do it on a permit, that's what you would be up against.
Mhm.
As far as, we talked earlier about fumigation, only because of logistics, you might want to move on that. The subterranean termite treatment is a pretty straightforward, and it's it's going to give you long-term prevention from the subterranean termite.
Mhm.
And then, if you're going to do, you got to have remodeling plans?
No.
Okay. If you start thinking about cosmetic changes, some of that, you could, if you were going to change out areas, you could pursue the damage in a given area as you deal with it.
I see.
I mean, as the house is now, it's livable.
Yeah.
So,
So like if we don't take care of this right away,
you're going to take care of controlling the termite
yeah.
by having us do the chemical treatment.
Uh-huh.
The repair, yeah, you may want to wait and see, are you going to remodel in the future or not?
Yeah, because what happens if we don't if I don't repair it right away, or?
Well, again, we can control the termite and stop them from eating.
Yeah,
But yeah, it's not going to get worse.
okay.
So
So unless someone falls through the floor, which,
yeah, and I was telling Jeff outside that we were just talking about the sub area in general. There's no evidence of chalk marks or tags. We put inspection tags on the house since 1979. I put it in the electrical meter box out here at the front corner with a date on it, so people have an idea of when it was last inspected. The state did it for full disclosure laws that got strong in '79. But I don't see any tags, and I don't see any, and before tags and even after tags in my industry, people tend to chalk mark things on the
Okay.
foundation, and I don't see any chalk marks related to my business.
okay.
So it's
Oh, yeah, the drainage.
Drainage leaking.
Trying to talk and look at the same time. So he thinks.
Okay. What do you think of the
Let's say-
size of the electrical box? Is it too small? Am I gonna have to change the wiring of this whole place soon, or?
The size of the electrical boxes.
Yeah,
I haven't seen that condition yet.
okay,
There's not very many circuits in the house, so I could explain what a circuit is. The big wires come in the house, you can see them coming down to the corner of the roof. They have two big wires comes in, three wires, just like correspond to those three things there. So between these two wires will be 120 volts. Between these two wires, 120 volts. Between these two, 240 volts. So that's a typical residential configuration. You have 100 amps capacity here. That's enough total power to run the house. But those go in and connect to these two bars that in the side of that thing that we're looking at outside there. Two bars come down here, and the breakers are hooked there. Remember, one breaker was missing?
yeah,
But the rest of the breakers are there. Well, each breaker is the start of a circuit. So a wire goes out into the house, and the white wire comes back into the panel. But the breaker. Each breaker represents a circuit. There really should be more than we see down there. If you're going to run like hair dryers in here and have microwaves, coffee machines, blenders, electric heaters, don't do that. You can do it in here. You've got enough power to do that. But a modern kitchen requires two plug circuits, a lighting circuit, disposal, dishwasher. Yeah, the 5. So you got about 10 of them out there. So, since just a kitchen needs 5, that's not really very many. Well, you see like 20 or so. I mean, there's no hard and fast rule for that. It just
okay.
depends. And then, there's old standards. And
Why do you think there's a circuit breaker missing?
Is not have much significance,
Okay, doesn't mean anything. Okay,
except remember I'm telling you there's not enough circuits.
okay.
But I don't know why it got into that condition.
Yeah, just have to put something there to
Someone,
block it, so no one.
a breaker is laying there. That may be the one.
Yeah, I think so.
They set it down there
Yeah,
because it wasn't working right or something.
okay.
But
But so
managed-
far, we haven't found any, except that one non-working outlet.
That's right. That's what we'd be looking for, is something that doesn't
Work.
Okay. As a result of that breaker being turned around.
Okay, reverse polarity condition in the bathroom?
Yeah. Are you recording this?
Yeah,
You're recording the sound?
yeah.
Okay.
So both of them are reverse polarity?
Yeah. Let's see what we got over here.
See, this is the GFCI thing. It didn't respond to my tester, but it may respond to this thing. Okay, so it's working. See how it's off now when it's tripped off? That's a safety, shock safety thing.
Was that outlet working the right way?
Yeah, that one's good.
That one's good?
there's limits to this instrumentation stuff. It seems like the ground wire is weak. It's got like weak ground. So it's kind of hard to know what that means unless you're really an expert.
Okay.
So I think I better put it down that way because I have a few things in this house that. Well, here's an example. And then we're not too neat on these grout joints here. And here's a better job. A lot of tile guys can get them all really nice. So there's no reason to think that's a problem.
Uh-huh.
It's just
Cosmetical, or,
Jim. All this work here. Let's see. Oh, that's a switch. Cold, hot, cold, hot, hot.
so a rock has hit the window.
From the
Oh,
outside.
from the inside.
From the outside.
Why from the outside, not the
And
inside?
then it
Why don't you think it's from here and not from?
just blasted all the little pieces in this way. That's why the hole's bigger on the inside here.
Oh, interesting. So.
This is a typical entry and exit wound
Uh-huh.
configuration.
Okay.
So why do I say that?
I see.
Well, because.
No. That's fine. I'll take your word for it. Makes sense. So it hit from the outside, and then so you think
And
a
then it
rock
just
or
fell
something?
down. And then it just fell down.
So it'd have to be human thrown, right?
Yeah, I mean, people call them BB holes.
Oh.
As if somebody shot it with a BB gun. But
I see.
Any kind of a small thing would do that. Oh, yes.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you can, the window's kind of weird. You see where my light is shining outside there?
Uh-huh.
See, that's a damaged rafter tail there.
Yeah.
And I can see them from downstairs. There's several of them along this side.
Okay.
That's just so you'll know what we're talking about.
Okay.
So if you want this door closed,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of people never close their door, but if you want it closed, you need to get somebody over that can cut it off just a little bit on the top here.
Okay. So you think it's not hung right, or?
I think maybe there's been a little sill.
Well, the door's brand new, right?
Yeah, it's hard to know what's happening here because you would assume that somebody that was hanging a door,